Good morning, everybody, and happy Monday. I hope everybody had a really great weekend and had a really great week last week as far as it goes. I know sales, not always the best week for sales just due to the holiday and, kind of having everybody on a little bit of tryptophan there with the turkey and just overeating, but, it's all good. So today I thought we'd talk a little bit about adding supplements. I know it is post-holiday. We're still kind of in the post-holiday blues going on. So when it's obvious that goals cannot be reached, don't adjust the goals, adjust the action steps. That is a big thing when it comes to the individual market. With everything that has happened in the individual market, the way things have been changing, it's not as much of saying, hey, you know what, our new goals, they can't be reached. It's more, I actually have to change what's happening. Our consumer base has changed as far as it goes with how educated they are. Our product base has changed, considering it's changing all the time. The state's laws have changed. So really everything, we have to stay on our toes and kind of adjust what we do. With that, we know that now we have to actually sell supplements if we want to make a living in this industry. And so that's one thing that we're going to kind of jump in and talk about today. So happy Motivation Monday. For those of you, if this is your first Motivation Monday call, these are quick 50 to 30-minute calls that are just point is to show you kind of what's going on in the environment, give you a few pointers. If you can walk away with one or two things, this is definitely worth your time and get you going as far as the week. Here is the layout. We go through a tip of the week. We actually had a lot going on. We go through some of the trends, we go through the sales leaders, and then in the end we will end with the sales technique, which this week is more about adding fact finding to your presentation. So the tip of the week last week is about the new NatGen back office. Again, we bring this up because NatGen is one of the products we do sell the most of. This was emailed out. I got a few questions on it. I'm in the process of making a training video that we can put online for everyone. But it's just letting you know that there's a new back office, but it is your same E123 username and password. If you do have any questions about it or need any help, obviously feel free to reach out to us here at training@ahcpsales.com. And another tip of the last week is that we are going through NatGen product trainings. Excuse me, we do have one today now. The date on there is wrong. It is the Plan Enhancer. For NatGen products, an accident fixed benefit. The Plan Enhancer is one of the most popular sold products. It's actually an accident medical expense with accidental death and dismemberment, and there are two riders you can put on. A sickness hospitalization, where they get a lump sum if they go to a hospital, or cancer, heart, and stroke. That one is actually today at 2 p.m. That is Pacific Standard Time. We went through the dental PPO last week. There was a lot of interest, so we may be opening up another one of those probably next week or the week after. And then later on this week, we do have a critical illness and cancer, heart, and stroke. If you have not signed up, we are limited to 100 spots. It is available on the training calendar there at ahcpsales.com, so feel free to sign up for those. In the tip of the week this week, so I don't know how many of you are aware that we actually do have an interactive carrier map on our carrier section on our website. Right there below, there's actually going to be a map, that says search carriers and products by state. Just right where it says we have over 500 products with almost 50 carriers in every state. There's actually going to be an interactive map you can search with, where what you do is you just click on your state, and that is going to bring up a list of all the states and all the carriers and what is going on with it. So you can click one of the states. I clicked Texas here. It's going to say this is what's available on exchange. This is what's available off exchange as far as major medical. You can jump into what carriers are on short term and all the different supplements. The whole goal behind this is really just to save you time so you can go through and try to figure out what carriers you want to be appointed with. It's really, really useful. Again, it looks like that. You can click the state. It's also good if you are sitting there, you are appointed with a carrier and you're saying, hey, you know what, I need to expand my state footprint. Maybe you have 2 licenses and your goal is really to get to 10 so you can bring in more business. Again, expanding states is really what's going to help you. You can go through and kind of shop the states. Those in dark green are the states that have the most products. Those that are lighter, all the way almost to the white like the Dakotas there, are where there's the least amount of products. So taking a look at the trends. So with everything going on, this is going to be really boring. Everything is steady. We had almost no change. I told you guys this would happen. A few of them dipped down, maybe 1 or 2 policies, nothing too extreme. This happens this time of year. It's going to kick up probably this week or next since we are in the first week of December. This is usually when it speeds up right around to the holiday season. And then it's going to slow down yet again. So don't be too shocked by this. I wasn't. This is exactly what I was expecting. We did really, really great with it. Bam, they're slow due to the holiday. But again, we led with the golden rule in the major medical and in the dental. With critical illness, as usual, it is CBL. I will tell you the TrioMed product Doesn't really fall into any of those categories on its own, but it is the biggest seller there, and as well with our short-term medical policy. Good shout out there to the sales leaders this week. We had a really, just the good steady sales week, but we had some pretty amazing people. So we had, with our short-term medical with NHIC, we had Andrew Orlikoff actually absolutely blow us out of the water. The sales numbers on that were extremely impressive. Jacob Gordon as well with short-term medical there took the silver with the golden rule, and David Taxer with NHIC in the bronze. Now with the ancillary products, our supplements, those things that are going to be kind of our bread and butter to our paycheck, the things that are going to help our agent or our clients the most, David Deswitz. With the accident in the Triomed, we had Andrew Orlikoff taking in silver last week with the Triomed, and then David Taxer there with the NatGen Dental product. NatGen Dental. So those of you that didn't go and attend last week's dental webinar, it's a pretty good one. They do have that new dental PPO product, and of course that old tried and true dental indemnity product. So this week, really what we're going to go through is kind of how to explain supplements. That is going to be of our biggest goal. So we're going to talk about how to actually present a product. That's a big one. I spent a lot of last week working with a few agents on how do you actually present products. This is kind of different. If you're new to the individual market, if you are new to the insurance world, welcome. It's a lot of fun. But explaining your actual sales process, so you did a really solid introduction, what you can do, you did a really good fact finding, you know exactly what the client should have. How do you make it happen? How do you make it happen with supplements so you can make sure to get paid, and then when the worst happens to your client, to make sure that they're not out a boatload of money? So it's extremely important with this because there's basically five things you need to go through when you're doing any sales process when explaining a product. First off, it's going to be saying, hey, you know what, you're going to have a recommendation, and we'll dig into that a little more. A recommendation or explanation. Really, what is going on, what's important. The second is going to go through how are they actually going to use the benefits. Then it's going to be how to use the benefits with the supplements, and then get a confirmation of benefits, and all this is going to happen before you tell the consumer how much it costs. That might be a little uncomfortable, and that might be different from the process you're used to, but I will tell you this is the most successful sales process to use in an individual market. Keep in mind, group is different because with group you're giving options. With the individual market, you're really doing a recommendation and suggesting one solid package to your customer. So one of the biggest things is that you have to go through the recommendation and explanation. This is extremely, extremely, extremely important and extremely useful. This is the part where you're going to be telling your client, hey, guess what? I'm actually a sales professional, and that you should be listening to me. I've been doing this for a long time. Then it actually all starts out with, you go through, you listen, you say, hey, you know what I'm going to do next is I'm actually going to present the product. If we need to make any changes, absolutely we can. But as long as you like what you're going to hear, we're going to go ahead and get you applied for that plan today. That's actually a sentence that I use myself. I say, you know what, I'm going to I have a recommendation here. It's going to be an excellent fit. What I'm going to do is give you a full explanation of all the benefits. And as long as you like what you hear today, I'm going to go ahead and get you applied for that today, okay? And that's just saying, hey, this is my next step. And then the package I'm going to recommend you is, and then I always start with my short-term or major medical. One of the biggest things to let them know that this is kind of the concept of a package, but it's also going to be customized. With this, customizing is really extremely important, letting the client know that, because that gives them the concept of, you know what, this is made especially for me. He listened or she listened. They care about what I'm actually doing. It's really, really important to let them know that. Customization is a big thing. It's one thing that a lot of agents skip over, saying, hey, you know what? I have this short-term medical from Golden Rule, and I have this Triomed from National General. What does that tell the client? Hey, you know what? I have these two separate policies. They may or may not work together. I'm not sure how it's going to work. But when I say, hey, you know what? I have a package, and the package I'm going to recommend from you is, and just to let you know, I actually did customize this for you and your family's specific needs. Saying all these things will work together. They will work for what I want it to. And it's specific for just me. People love customization. If you ever watch people buy a car, they love to customize everything they can possible. This is good. It also lets the client know that, hey, you know what? If we need to make a change, it's completely doable. So you're setting up kind of the steps for everything too. You may want to tell your client, if you have not already, grab a pen and paper. I'm going to go through some things with you. I want to make sure you understand this clearly, so when we go through and get you applied for this, you're not in the dark. It is a proven fact that if your client understands the policy, they will retain it. We get paid on retention. First year retention is huge for us. So the biggest thing is I want them to understand because I want them to actually have the policy. So we start off with saying, hey, you know what, I have a recommendation. And then we're going to go through the benefits usage and supplements, which is kind of the whole point of this call today. So there's legitimately four things clients are going to care about the most. I have done a lot of polls. I've done a lot of focus groups on this. Biggest things are going to be the doctors, the network, the prescriptions, and the out-of-pockets. So what I mean by doctors, is it going to be a copay? How am I going to pay for it when I go to the doctor? What is the network? Because those are things that they understand. Prescriptions, your client understands, and what their out-of-pocket max is something that they actually just need to know flat out. A lot of this, what you are telling them, is going to be because you want the client to be comfortable with it. Biggest thing in insurance is not to lead with insurance speak, but we want the client to be comfortable and to understand it. The first ones are actually kind of boring. They're not that much fun to go through and talk about. That's not really where you're going to add a lot of supplements, honestly. You're going to go through saying, hey, you know what, I have this bronze plan for you. It uses the Aetna network. This is what's going to happen when you go to a doctor. It's going to be a $50 copay every time. So when if little Timmy needs to go in for his immunizations, those are covered at 100% because preventive is covered at 100% with major medical policies. If you go to a doctor, there are $50 copays right away. So you go see a doctor, no matter what the cost is, it's going to be $50. Kind of boring, nothing too extreme. Not a lot of the supplements, unless you are specifically talking fixed benefits, are going to do a lot with that. Keep in mind, fixed benefits are pretty great. Their popularity is really raising this year just due to everything that's going on, because with a lot of the fixed benefit plans, they can actually help with doctors and the prescriptions. But keep in mind, a lot of them exclude pre-X, kind of like a short term. Where you're really going to spend a lot of your time will be the out-of-pocket max. So a very amateur move I see is when we talk about the out-of-pocket max, they just talk about, hey, here's my major medical and short term. Do you like this product? Great. Okay. Now here's the accident product. Let me go through. So I'm not going to really relate it back. It's just going to be, you have a $7,150 out-of-pocket max, but I gave you a $5,000 accident. Okay, great. And you have a $100,000 critical illness. Okay, great. And dental. Don't do this. I'm not saying don't let them know that all the policies are separate. You have to do that. Legally, we need to make sure clients know that they're all separate, but because honesty is very important, what I'm really trying to go through and say, the most important thing is to talk kind of about the package concept. That yes, maybe all these policies are going to be from different carriers, but they all work together. You want them to make them feel comfortable, and again, use words that they understand. Don't you dare walk in and just start knocking out deductible, co-insurance, out-of-pocket max, those kinds of things. You need to describe it. So I'm going to go in kind of an example of how this really works. So your goal going through plan presentation is at least two times you need to tell a story about the consumer. That's why we do fact finding. Why? Because people don't care what you're saying. I mean, it sounds bad, but you know what? The second you say, hey, you know what? I'm going to tell a story about you, they're going to pay attention right away. Humans are narcissistic creatures. We want to hear about ourselves. We want to hear how this is going to work for us, not how it worked for another client. Okay? So, important thing, at least twice. Make yourself a little checkbox if you have to. You need to tie it back to the consumer. So you're going to obviously start with the deductible and co-insurance, get into the out-of-pocket max, and then do the famous $100,000 example. Join the 100K club. What I mean by that is most people can understand how these products work if you use big numbers. Okay? So we use $100,000 because first off, it's going to shock the consumer a little bit, and we want them to pay attention. The biggest thing is we want them to pay attention. So join the 100K club, use it as an example. Plus, if you're trying to take $5,000 out of $100,000 and tell them that the insurance company will pay for $95,000 out of a $100,000 accident, that sounds a lot better than saying, hey, you know what, you get an average accident at $10,000, this is going to cover half, you're going to have to pay the other half. Not as great. You want to use kind of the big scenario. And this is actually where you're going to start talking about supplements just as reassurance. So we'll go into it. So for example, I'm sure one of your concerns is if the large what if type of medical bill occurs, right? So let's say little Timmy was running outside again and he fell and broke a few bones and the medical bill this time was $100,000. Here's how this plan is going to work. So the deductible on this plan is $2,500. That's the part of the plan you pay first. So write that down. And that's paid before the insurance company starts kicking anything out. So then the insurance company will start paying for 80% of the bills until you paid a total of $7,150. That's actually called your max out of pocket. So that $100,000 accident of Timmy running outside playing because he said he broke his leg, a little bit last year, and it costs $100,000. You know what? The insurance company is going to pay $7,150, or you're going to pay $7,150, and the insurance company is going to pay $92,850 for that full $100,000 there. Sounds pretty good, right? Great. Now this is when you start talking about the supplements. Hey, this is how your raw plan is going to work, and then you just jump right in. So with this plan, I've added a plan enhancer. So really just trying to enhance everything that's going on to match your out-of-pocket max. So that means that for any covered accident-related expenses up to $7,150, it's going to take it down from the $7,150 max out-of-pocket to a $250 deductible. But that would be per occurrence. So again, if Timmy falls and that one accident, the bill's $100,000, instead of paying the $7,150, you'd be paying the $250. So really the whole point with that is just to enhance the plan, kind of give you insurance for your insurance, right? Great. Now to ensure you're paying the least amount of money possible for anything that happens, there's a critical illness policy of $50,000 on here. If you're anyone on this package does get diagnosed with a life-threatening critical illness, you guys would actually receive a lump sum check for $50,000. It may adjust a little bit due to whatever illness it is. It's really to help you focus on recovery instead of trying to focus on, hey, how am I going to work with food, clothing, and shelter? And now I didn't forget about your dental. Teeth are always important. It's kind of the gateway to health. So I've added a PPO dental plan that uses the Carrington Maximum Care Dental Network. And when you go for anything preventative, it's actually covered at 100%. So those cleanings, exams, x-rays. For basic or major services, there is a $50 deductible. And with basic services, the plan is actually going to pay 80%. So it means if it's a minor, like a cavity, you'd only be paying 20%. This plan would pay 80%. And if it's anything big like a crown, this plan would pay 50% and you'd pay the other half. Up to $2,000 in benefits per person per year. How does that sound? Well, that is just, a major medical policy with 3 supplements on there. So it's kind of quick, it's kind of to the point, but it lets them know, hey, this is a separate plan, but this is how it would work with it. The most important thing is to tie into the policy that you are selling. A lot of agents honestly don't do that. One of the biggest tips for adding supplements is just do it. What's the worst that's going to happen? Your client's going to say no. As long as you lead with the short-term or the major medical, you can make sure to tie down that sale, but it is important that you add the supplements. Another amateur move is to actually go through and do the quoting websites as your client's talking, because you already found out what their budget is. So you should be able to do all the supplements and that short-term or major medical under their budget. So before you even jump into presenting a plan, big thing, big thing. Have everything ready, have it up and going. So with the out-of-pocket max, it is really important to go through, just add the supplements and tie everything back. That is the biggest thing in our industry. These supplements are good, as you know. Accidents, no one plans for them. Critical illnesses, sure as heck no one plans for them. With the cost of $7,150, less than half of the US actually having $1,000 in their savings account, you need to do this to help your client. Now you went through all of this, you gave them a ton of information. One of the biggest things is that you need to get a confirmation of benefits. This is your actual close. Okay, so I went through everything and this policy is going to start on this date. It's going to cost this amount. How does this sound to you? I want to get a yes. Do these benefits sound like they are going to work for you and your family? That is my line, actually. Do these benefits sound like they're going to work for you and your family? I will not move on without a yes. If they're like, it sounds okay. Whoa. Okay. What's the hesitation? Well, with the critical illness, $50,000 isn't going to get us a lot. You're right. We can actually bump that up to $100,000. Unfortunately, it's going to take you out of your budget. That's what happens a lot there. People are going to say, you know what? I like the major medical policy. The dental policy makes sense. I may want to adjust the supplements. That is their time to actually shop. Before, if you've done group in the past, it's actually going to be, hey, here's plan A, plan B, plan C. That's not the way this works. This is my recommendation. This is when they can make their changes. So is this policy going to work for you and your family? Do these benefits sound like they're going to work? You need a yes before you move on. Well, they could, depending on the price. You know what? I absolutely understand. One of the things is, you told me your budget. I kept it well under your budget. I just need to make sure these benefits work. So I can tell you it's definitely within it. It wouldn't matter if it's $1 all the way up to hundreds of dollars a month. I need to make sure these are going to work. That's the biggest thing. I will not give them the price until I get that yes to benefits. Always get the yes to benefits, because that is going to say, yes, I want this policy and all these supplements. Then you can roll right into the applications. And that's when I just start. They say, yep, this works. Great. Well, you know what? My next step in the process is actually to complete all these applications. So what I'm going to do is collect a little bit of demographic information from you. We may have to go through some authorizations as well. And I know you said you're in front of your computer. You're going to get a few emails from me now. So I'm wondering, what is your middle initial? No awkwardness. I literally close them. I got the yes to benefits, and I'm rolling right into the application. It just makes everything smooth. It's just a nice transition. If you stop there, anything that you stop with is going to actually give your client an opportunity to object, and you don't want that. You want to just make sure that you know this is best for them. You are a professional. You have a lot of carriers. You work with so many different carriers. You know what is going to be best. This is when you really need to do kind of what you do. So supplements, the biggest thing is you just need to add them. That is huge. People don't add them, and I'm not kidding you. When I've told agents, add 2 supplements on every call, add 2 supplements on every call, and let the client say no, they saw that their cross-sell rate was huge. If you're not doing it now and you're saying, well, my client called in for a short term. Yes, your client doesn't know. They don't sit there and they don't play on websites. They don't have access to AHCPsales.com and get to take a look at that carrier map and find out about everything that's out there. They don't know. Your clients don't know what they don't know. You need to just add them. You need to educate them. And to educate them, you need to tell them a story when explaining the max out of pocket. That is the big thing. That is where you will sell your accident policies. That's where you'll sell your TrioMed. It's the easiest one to do. If you are not comfortable selling supplements right now, I suggest contacting training at hcpsales.com, and we can go through the TrioMed together. That email goes directly to myself and also to Tammy, who does some of the Motivation Mondays as well. We will more than happy walk you through how the TrioMed works, and then we can get you up and running in the supplement market. They pay great commissions, and they pay out great for clients too when the big what if happens. Biggest thing is you need to change your thinking, and that's what's going to help you. Set yourself a goal of 2 on every call and see how it works out. So if there's questions on anything from today, or if there's something you want me to cover in the next Monday, please don't be shy. Reach out to the email address below, so training at hcpsales.com. It goes through the training box that is checked all day long. It actually goes to my cell phone as well. And if you have a question, I guaranteed 15 other people are going to think about that. So we'd end with a pretty good quote from Vince Lombardi. The difference between a successful person and others is not lack of strength, not lack of knowledge, but rather lack of will. And that is huge in the supplement market. My agents who want to do it, just do it. That's all you have to do. I mean, honestly, think of the Nike slogan right there. Just do it. Just add it. Let your clients say no, because they won't be shy. They won't bite. Just make sure to just add them and see kind of what their feedback is. I hope everybody has a great Monday, and I will talk to you next week. Get out there and kick some butt.